Welcome, everybody, to the Legendarium Green Team. And today we're going to the Oscars. The fantasy, science fiction, and horror movie Oscars, actually. And with me today, I have Jingalls.
Hola.
And I have Ian from the Cinema in Seconds podcast.
Hello.
I'm Yettibeats.
Who are you wearing today?
I was going to say, I have my
we're at the carpet. We're at the beginning. Who are you wearing?
I have my clip-on tie, obviously, or a tuxedo shirt. Is that what we're all wearing underneath this? And, yeah, and this is called Adidas sweatshirt edition. Is what I have on.
For those who can't afford a proper tailor, there's Adidas.
Yeah, there's the sale section at Marshall's.
That's right.
Yeah, so this year usually we do kind of like our favorite movies, a top 5 of the year for like science fiction, fantasy, horror, genre fiction, let's say. And this year we thought we'd switch it up a bit and play into the Oscars a little bit, where we single out some of our favorite performances and we'll each nominate, so to speak, a category. So we'll go through Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, and then at the end we'll give our Best Film. And
so you said we're going to give our nominees. So does that mean we have to come to a consensus at the end for?
I was just going to throw them out there, and then whatever. I know mine are right, so I don't need to. I'm definitely not picking your best supporting actor, so I can't award that movie. I can't allow it. Yeah, or at least our winners or whoever we thought throughout the year should win. And but none of our picks. We made just a rule that none of our picks can be the same with the acting categories, but when we pick our best film, that can interlap. Is that a word? Not interlap. What am I thinking of?
Overlap?
Overlap.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah. So we'll get into that. And all right. I guess real quick, what do you guys feel about that? We do this every year, but how'd you feel about the year? Better, worse than the last few years? Around the same?
I really enjoyed myself this year. Yeah. Uh-oh.
Ian's like, it sucks.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a weaker year, actually. At least until the end. The end started to throw some bangers out there, but yeah, it was looking pretty dreary for a while.
Yeah.
But saying that, there's a lot of movies out there that people really loved this year that I just didn't get on board with, so maybe that's why I'm feeling like that.
It's a you problem. That's what you're saying.
It's a me problem. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think like looking back on 2024, I feel like 2025 was it was a great year. I don't know. I think there were a lot of movies franchise-wise that didn't feel like they were just there to cover some IP and gain some money. Like there's like some actually some really good like returns of franchises as well. We actually saw some sci-fi genre movies that tried to do something a little different, especially in the superhero realm. Horror. I mean, horror. Usually every year I can probably name you 10 horror movies that I really liked, but that's probably a volume thing more than an actual rating of the year itself. Yeah, I don't know. And I also just liked, probably see this in a couple of my movies, not so much in others, but just like the range of emotional statements happening. Like we had some incredibly positive and some very negative, but yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed this year. I had a lot of fun.
I guess I'm always looking at the top, right? I'm thinking like, what were the best movies? And comparing to like last year, probably they're pretty similar years. But last year had Dune and it had Challengers, which are like two very, very, very strong movies for me. And nothing this year really came to those levels. So I guess that paints my view of it a little bit. But it was a pretty good year though.
God, it was Dune 2024. Yeah, time
Yeah.
flies. My goodness.
You're getting another one this year, Matt or Yeti. I know you're excited.
I can't wait. The finale. A lot to say. I'll drag it on the Discord and then someone will bring up my 4.5 star review. Call me out.
Yeah, as they should.
That's all right.
As they should.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Let's start Jingles. Let's start with you. We're gonna go best supporting actor first.
Okay.
So who was your best supporting actor choice this year?
Yeah. So for supporting actor, I maybe he was the lead actor in this movie, but um, the actress did such a good job. I don't think there's anyone comparable in that role to her. Um, I chose Jack Quaid in Companion, which was actually an early movie this year. That was in January or February, I think. Um, great Valentine's Day movie. I feel like that's actually when we went and saw it. But in this movie, Jack Quaid plays like one of the worst human beings I think possible. And it's really fun. Especially because if you are following Jack Quaid's career at all, he's usually more on the up and up. He's usually like the
Hmm.
Mr. Good guy. So it was fun to see him kind of take a different role and um kind of yeah, just run with it in a really strong way. Um I don't know how much I can say about Companion right now. It's a bit of a spoiler. Um at least
Yeah, I
it
mean,
was for me.
oh really? Yeah. I
Yeah.
was gonna say with this episode, I guess we could give a spoiler warning. For like I don't light spoil. It's up to you, Jingles, how much you want to spoil. If you don't want to spoil it too much of it, that's fine. It does tell kind of reveal itself in like the first like 20
It
minutes, but
it does. Yeah. I think I'll just say this. I'll say this movie is very interesting because it is a horror movie that dresses itself up in a lot of um, specific niceties that are kind of vacation based around expectation of gender and um, uh, around gender and roles that we are supposed to play as partners. And Jack Quaid does a great job of manipulating that system in a very like I mean, and it's just incredibly manipulative. Um,
yeah.
yeah. So I really enjoyed his performance in this movie.
And I like what you said about him being like he's usually the good guy, right? Like he's a very likable actor, and like he's the anchor for shows like The Boys and things like that. Um, but I also like how the movie is playing off of that persona as well to kind
Yeah.
of lure you into like, oh yeah, this is the guy we're going to follow in this movie. So that when you realize that that's not the case, it makes that performance seem even better.
Yeah. And like you said, I like how it doesn't even have to be like a fantastical movie and it could still be a horror movie in a sense. Like he plays kind of every toxic boyfriend I'm sure people have had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, where that it's I think a lot of people can connect with that and be repulsed by him, even without kind of whatever the twist is in the movie. And yeah, I didn't even see The Boys, and I could feel like the movie even just sets you up in the beginning to be like, oh, this seems like he just has. I mean, he's Meg Ryan's and Dennis Quaid's son, so he already has this like winning charm to him that he kind of
Yeah,
oozes,
absolutely.
kind of like real nice guy energy. And then yeah,
Um,
it's
I mean, he's one of those guys like you watch him smile and you're like swooning, right? Like
Mhm.
that's his style. Um, and I also like it's funny like in comparison um to the rest of the year, he actually did have an action movie called Novocaine, I think was this year, and
yeah,
he does play this character in a more positive light. Like
huh,
he falls in love with a girl and he is like really good to her, but she gets kidnapped for whatever reason, and you know, that movie was fine. But yeah, it's funny seeing him hit the different ranges this year.
Yeah, I had to check out on Novocaine. I'm just sick of all the like action movies like Nobody or like I just these I don't know.
John Wick
Yeah,
clones. Yeah. Yeah.
that
It
one,
needs to switch up.
that one tried to work with a fun gimmick, but it just I don't know. It's once you boil it down, this is just the same generic action movie. This did not feel like the same generic horror movie. So
It even expands into something. I mean, there's a big twist, but his character, it would even be fine if he was like the toxic kind of a-hole boyfriend that he is, but it turns into like a bigger like not like a heist, but like a scheme he's trying like a terrible scheme he's trying to pull off. And it's just like, oh, this guy's just like an awful, awful person with like
awful, awful
no morals at
idiot.
all.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just an idiot.
All right.
Well, we might talk about this movie again.
I was just
We
gonna say
might.
that. It's like stay tuned because it'll come up. Alrighty, Ian. Why don't we go to your best actor, which is an
Supporting,
interesting
right?
one. Sorry, best supporting actor. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I went with a movie that came out again earlier in the year called Death of a Unicorn. I think it came out around March, April, something like that. And it's this really silly fantasy thriller. It's kind of dressing up as a horror movie where, but where the beasts that are hunting everybody are unicorns that have really sharp teeth, I guess. But it's about like this. It's kind of one of those eat the rich movies that are very, very popular now because, rich people are awful and really making the world terrible right now. So we like to make fun of them in movies. And this is definitely one of those. And Will Poulter plays like this hush or this like hedge fund baby, right? Like he's born into a rich family and he's going to take over the business, and he's also a tool. And he's I kind of like his performance in here. The movie is okay. Some people really did not like it. I thought it was all right. I thought that he was one of the people that made it more watchable because he's just has that kind of energy where even though he's playing a jerk, he's one of those fun to watch jerks, and he comes off stupid, but like he's always got a scheme going on, even though he doesn't really think him through, but he's got a scheme going on. And he's kind of like that dangerous stupidity where it's like, yeah, his ideas are dumb, but they're gonna get somebody hurt, and so it always amps up the tension like that too. And then by the end, he's just off the rails nuts, and he's like got a bow and arrow, and he thinks that he's gonna be like this great archer. And I think I like Will Poulter quite a bit. I think he adds a lot to any role that he's in. He just adds a little extra spark to it. And it's funny that he was like the kid in what was that movie called, Son of Rambo?
Oh,
You guys
man.
ever see that?
Was he really?
Yeah, I think that was like when the two kids are like trying to make their own Rambo movie. I think he was probably like 12 years old or something when they made that movie. And since then,
gosh.
he's kind of grown up into this really interesting actor. And whether he shows up in like Midsummer or The Bear, he's always got a pretty cool role. So I
Yeah.
had fun with him in this.
That's what I feel like the first time I remember seeing him was in We're the Millers,
Yep,
where he
me
plays
too.
like the idiot kid.
Right.
Yeah.
It's burned into my memory for that role. Yeah. All right. So I'll say this about the movie. I hated it. It was terrible. It's one of those things where it wasn't as funny as it should. If it wanted to be a comedy, it wasn't funny. If it wanted to be a horror, it wasn't scary. And it missed both of those middle grounds. I feel like Jenna Ortega is wasted. She's terrible at picking roles. It's driving me nuts. Paul Rudd as her father is stupid. I don't know, like, nothing worked. But the one thing that did work, as Ian pointed out, was Will Poulter. Every time he's in this movie, it made it redeemable that I had it on. I would even just laugh at his like fits, like what he would wear, his rich guy clothing that he'd wear. It just
When they finally find the unicorn and he's like, I feel like I shouldn't be wearing swimming trunks for this moment.
yeah. he really knew what type of movie he was in. He knew it was in a comedy, but he actually either they gave him the best writing or he could pull off the scenes. He was just so good, and it's almost like he had said, kind of a waste that he's in a movie like this. But yeah, I just sometimes I get so angry at studios that this is kind of the slop that's being made. It's like you'll take a risk on a death of a unicorn, but not someone's original other idea. It's. I know Jingles didn't see this, and I I'm with you. I really think this is a funny performance, and I'm with you. I love Will Poulter, Wilder Millers. He's great in Midsommar. He has a funny side role. I even liked him in Guardians 3. Um,
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Adam Warlock is a wasted character in Guardians 3. He does feel like one of those characters that they were building up for, and then you get to this movie and it's like, that's it. But he is not the problem on that scope, right? Like he's the one who I laughed every time he was on screen in that movie.
yep.
And yeah, Death of the Unicorn. I keep putting it off. I think I'm still gonna watch it at some point. I know people were giving it very negative reviews that I've seen on Letterboxd, so I just kind of decided it was going to be one of those movies I watch when I'm at home and really don't know if there's anything else I feel like watching.
Mm.
um, but it does make I don't think I even knew Will Poulter was in this movie, so I that actually does make me pretty excited because I do love him in The Bear. I've been watching that recently, and he's just so charming, so good.
Yeah.
He just has good comic sensibilities where not every actor has it. Not saying he's a comic, but like it reminds me of my dog snoring. It reminds me of like John Hamm. Anytime he's on SNL, he's not a comedic actor, but he just has these sensibilities that he knows how to get a laugh. He knows not when not to go over the top on things. He just knows the right tone to hit in certain situations, which is, I wonder if Will Poulter's ever done SNL, but I feel like he'd do amazing in it.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
'Cause
probably would.
I wouldn't doubt it. I feel like he's another one of those guys that just has a presence once he gets on stage or in scene, and you're immediately drawn to him. So, um,
We put him in the supporting actor category because that's really what he is. Like, I don't think
Oh
he's
yeah.
ever
yeah.
taken a lead on his own. But he really works well in the
Uh,
supporting roles.
is he the lead in the Maze Runners, or is he? I can't
I don't
remember. It's
know.
been a minute since I've
I
seen
think
those
I saw
movies.
one of
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
It's not the kid from Game of Thrones, Genji or whatever his name is. I forget.
Can't remember.
Um, yeah, but I think he's gonna, like, in the future, you're gonna see him in lead roles. I mean, he's already did the bulk up thing where now he's like, he used to look weird and wear the Millers. Now he's like jacked and good looking. It's like,
It's the Marvel effect. He'll get there.
okay. Yeah. But yeah, it's a good pick though. As much as I loathe the movie, he was a delight, and thank God for
I mean,
him.
if we were doing the old pick your top 5
Right.
sci-fi fantasy movies, this isn't making it. But
This ain't in it.
but I'm going to bring up the. I may as well talk about and bring up the performance. So
Yeah, well, that's how the Oscars are sometimes.
that's right.
Sometimes these performances, there's terrible movies they're in, and they actually probably shouldn't be even nominated. Like, what was the Judy Garland movie? Renee Zellweger won.
Right.
So sometimes they just shoehorn them in.
Yep.
All right. So for my best supporting actor, I was gonna initially do one movie, and I kind of spoiled it for you guys. I apologize. Now I'm not even gonna use it, but I like that. I don't want to give away anything in that movie. Even just like bringing up that there's something to give away kind of gives it away.
Sure.
So I kept it out, even though I think there's a really great supporting performance in that. Sorry to leave everyone hanging, but um, instead, what I'm going to go with is shockingly a Marvel movie. And I'm going with Sebastian Stan in The Thunderbolts. And the reason I wanted to bring him up, I mean, if you haven't seen The Thunderbolts, it's kind of like the B team type of Avengers getting together, saving the day. And, who the Red Guardian, Florence Pugh, things like that. And in the beginning of that movie, they kind of are all together to get out of a situation. And I was realizing while watching this, like it was funny and it was solid, up halfway through, or not halfway through, but the beginning. And I was enjoying myself, but like something was missing. I'm like, just with a lot of these Marvel movies, there's like, since like 2019, there's just some gravitas that's like missing in a lot of it. And it wasn't until I think Bucky shows up maybe earlier in this. No, actually, I think this is when he shows up. But there's like a chase scene in like the this truck scene. You know, they're getting chased and bad guys are chasing them, and in comes Bucky on a motorcycle, looking like Arnie from T2, not looking like him, but acting like him, shooting things, blowing things up, and he has this movie star entrance, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, this is the guy." I was like, the movie just completely like goes up a level when he shows up. That scene's probably the best scene in the movie, and I was like, this guy should be like leading Marvel. Like he's just popping in and out, but like Sebastian Stan, maybe the character shouldn't, but like that's the type of actor that they're missing in these movies. And it's kind of been proven with the roles he's taking in other stuff, how good he is in movie Fresh, Different Man, the Trump movie he was nominated for. Like he's probably the best actor, like acting wise, Marvel has, arguably. And it just kind of dawned on me watching this that like, and he is kind of a supporting role in this, but he just like gives the movie like, oh, that's like the old Avengers or old pre 19 feeling of Marvel when they had Juice. It's like because they have someone like him, and maybe because there's history of the character and stuff we've got to. But I thought he was awesome in that movie and such a small kind of condensed role because really it's Florence Pugh's movie when you watch
Yeah,
it.
I was gonna say if you just said that he's the best actor that they had, and I take umbrage with that because Florence Pugh is in this very movie. And she's
Arguably the
wonderful.
best. Yes, yes. I like Florence Pugh too. But even still, there's like something he brings where it's just you know, the gravitas. Like I can't get that scene out of my mind when he just shows up on a motorcycle. I'm like, this is it. And I was like, this is why I want to see it the movies, like Captain America Civil War stuff, like Steve Rogers in the elevator. Like this is like amazing. Not that Florence Pugh can't do that, and she is, you know, she's had a ton of amazing performances, but that's what I feel like's missing is something like Sebastian Stan. I don't know.
Yeah. I I think I agree with you that Sebastian Stan is a very strong component of this movie. Like I think I might take a little bit of umbrage as well because yeah, I love Florence Pugh um, in this movie, and I think David Harbour for what he does well. Like he's supposed to very much be supporting um, Florence Pugh's performance, and he does that. Um, but Bucky in this movie, um, yeah, brings a little bit more gravity that I think the rest of the cast kind of fails to bring because uh Wyatt
'Cause he's the
Russell,
veteran, right? Like
yeah,
he's
I
the
mean
one that
he's
we
been there.
haven't seen for
Yeah, he's
years.
been there since the first Captain America. He's ready to go. Um and I think the Winter Soldier is one of those characters that like people keep wanting to see, but for some reason we just don't get a lot of. Um because that I mean, that was the arguably Winter Soldier is probably the best Marvel movie to ever be made. And in no small part because of the role that he plays. Like Sebastian Stan is consistent and he's strong in all of these movies. Um, and yeah, and he shows. This is probably a pretty big blanket, especially since Florence Pugh's right there. But um, he's outside of Marvel. He's also yeah, given like you said, great performances and showing his chops in every capacity that he can. Um, I just wish, yeah, I just kind of wish for this movie that he was kind of in charge, you know? Like I think that's the one thing that I always have a problem with the Winter Soldier stuff is he's always in the background more. And I would love him to be more prominent, even in Falcon and Winter Soldier. You know, that's very much more Anthony Mackie's the lead in that, doing more of the carrying. But
Let's be honest, Anthony Mackie doesn't have the same juice that
and he
Sebastian
Yeah.
doesn't.
Stan does.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Well, that's
That's
what I
what
mean.
he.
That's kind of been proven out now. And it's not that, you
Yeah.
know, you can't go back in time and change it, but I bet Marvel would love to have pivoted to having Bucky as the new Captain America and creating movies around him. Not that, you know, it's not, I like Anthony Mackie as an actor and Falcon's okay as a character. I think he's kind of, I don't know, a wimp. He gets, I think he gets beat up a lot. Uh, but I think just Bucky's just a more interesting character. And more importantly, I think Stan came to be like a real presence as an actor. Like I don't think it was like that. I mean, he was good in the first few movies, but I really think he's like transformed. And like you guys said, he's now been there kind of one of the longest. Like what, him and Ruffalo maybe?
Yeah.
Probably longer than Ruffalo, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's been there longer than Ruffalo. Hemsworth is probably the longest.
Oh yeah.
Well, I say that, but we are about to literally get everyone except for Scarlett Johansson back in Doomsday, and I'm not even
I
confident
never
in
know.
that statement. So,
Yeah. But I mean, say what you will about Marvel, you got to give them credit. They tend to nail their casting pretty well. They've got a
they
pretty
do.
good history of nailing their casting, and this is an example because I don't think Sebastian Stan was really that well known back when he
No,
started coming into this.
No way.
But then again, you think like, well, neither is Chris Hemsworth or any of these. Like they've really built the career of quite a few of their actors over the time. But
Yeah. And I think I just have a soft spot for like, again, the roles he's taking after Marvel or like in between. Whereas like some of these guys just drive me nuts with their like, I don't know, it's been talked
Chris
about, but
Hemsworth.
definitely Chris Hemsworth, like extraction movies. But like Chris Evans like
yeah,
really disappoints me. Like he could take such interest, like Sunshine, Knives Out. Like he really has the juice, and he just does these stupid, like what was a Red One, or it's just so disappointing what he does after Marvel. And I'm like, and now he's coming back, and it's like it is possible. You can be a good actor and have good taste. He's just like I don't know.
yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, to get up on the what the heck is Marvel doing soapbox really quick. Like, we haven't had an Avengers movie without the main cast, or what you could perceive as the main cast, yeah, and we're not going to. This is the first time we're doing an Avengers movie, since Endgame, and pretty much everyone's back. I mean, they keep running back to that formula because I think they, think that's where their greatest success is. They're kind of being proven right because I don't think Thunderbolts did particularly well, and it
mm,
was,
yeah,
um but I don't know. I really loved Thunderbolts this year, of the Marvel movies that came out. I Fantastic Four was good. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like it wasn't what I was hoping for in Fantastic Four. I think I some of the writing really underplayed how intelligent Mr. Fantastic actually is, just by making like really simple puzzles for him to solve. um,
right.
but Thunderbolts, they kind of took the Guardians of the Galaxy route, um, but made it a little bit more interesting. I think these particular characters, they're all tied to the government in some way, and I think they all have, certain feelings towards what they have done, the actions they have taken, and they do a great job of, uh, you know, mixing that in with the action component of what these movies are expected to have. Um, and so I don't know. It feels like they finally gave a little bit of playroom for the writers and the directors, and that this will probably unfortunately get pulled back because it just wasn't that popular a movie.
Well, it was very well liked, though. I think it has a really
It was very well received, yeah, on a
good
review
reputation.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they call it a win. It didn't bomb. It still made money, not as much as, ideally they'd want in Marvel movies. Like they don't make these movies to make like only $200 million profit. Like they make them to make like $700 million in profit. So yeah, it wasn't the best financially for them. Well reviewed. I just I'm just I don't understand. So I say this to my friends. Why isn't like Shang-Chi and it hasn't been in a movie? Like I just do not understand
I
why
don't
they
know.
introduce
Yeah.
these characters and then just drop them. Like they don't invest them, trip them around anymore. It's like, oh, we're done with that. Like Thunderbolts, at least we had Florence Pugh, Red Guardian in another movie, Bucky. Now you're building on that because you have a previous knowledge of them. And this one, yeah, was more well received, makes a little bit more money. Like they have to do building blocks. I can't. I don't get it. I just do not. Even the Eternals, which Ian's a huge fan of. There's nothing of that, and it's except references, and it's I don't know. It drives me nuts. There's no building on it, and now they're panicking. Like, well, let's just bring everyone back plus the old X-Men and maybe the Spider-Man. You know, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Which I'll watch, obviously.
Oh yeah, I'm not stopping watching any of these anytime soon, but it, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it would be nice to like see Simulu back. Because that was actually a great movie. Like that was one of the
Yeah,
first movies after Endgame. And I was like, oh, we're okay. We still got the juice. We're good.
yeah,
We can
things are
keep
good.
going. And then
Yeah,
they
and talk
came out
about
with
great
all.
action scenes. That bus scene in Shang-Chi
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
it's
is
fantastic.
awesome. Yeah.
All right. Let's keep it moving. All right. So that's our actors. Now let's move to Best Supporting Actress. And Jingles, we'll start with you again with a delightful performance.
Yeah. All right. I need to tell you a childhood story. You're going to get a little bit of Jingles history here.
Good.
When I was growing up, I had a Tia, an aunt who I really didn't know very well. And I was like 4 or 5 years old when I first met her, I think, as far as my memory is concerned. Um, and she was the scariest lady I had ever seen up to that point. She had she always wore like these really extravagant like black hats that had brims, 3 feet out. And she always wore like um these really like straightforward dresses that had a lot of black frill and things, like just very
Oh,
witchy looking woman, right? When I saw Amy Madigan in Weapons, I had some trauma.
PTSD.
That's where I'm getting to here. Uh, and God, I started with 2 big spoilery movies. Um, I love Weapons. I think Weapons was a great movie. I think it would have easily been in my top 5 this year. Um, Almost exclusively because, well, no, that's not true. The little kid in this, who I'm forgetting the name of right now, he does a fantastic job as well. But Amy Madigan as the villain is one of the most, horrifying things I saw all year, only outplayed by my actress. Um, and what's funny is, I mean, I think the Academy agrees. She's getting she got
Crazy.
an actual Oscar nod this year, for
Yep.
this movie. Um,
Honestly, might win. I mean,
yeah, honestly,
has
yeah,
a
I think,
legit chance.
yeah. Um, but the performance she brings, she's maybe on screen for like 20 minutes total. And I think I'm being generous on that count. She very much plays it in an Anthony Hopkins, Hannibal Lecter type of way, where she's mostly there to show that there are certain things that other characters can't control. And the mystery around what she is doing really does not become clear until you get one of the POVs. Otherwise, she just kind of randomly shows up in all these weird places, like um,
Horrifyingly.
in the middle of the woods, wearing like clown makeup and waving, and you're not sure what that's supposed to be. Um, and then
And like jump scares too, I
jump
think.
scares too, and then she also is, like, just incredibly abusive to this little boy, in a way that, yeah, it hurts to watch, and it's
Mm.
very unfortunate, and, I I always appreciate when someone can pull out that vile of a character, in a movie and can work with it. Feel like the last person that I really felt did this really well was, probably Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah. So Amy Madigan, definitely best supporting actress
Yeah.
this year.
Great pick. Ian, you're a fan, I assume, or you hated her?
Okay, so um I like Weapons quite a bit. Like when I was really in to that movie when I started watching it. I think I don't know how to say this. The only thing that keeps that movie from greatness from me is this character. I'll be honest with you.
What?
No
Oh my
way.
Yes.
gosh, really?
Let us
Oh
have it.
dang.
Now, that's not to say anything about Amy Madigan's performance. Like, I do agree with you that she's great in the role, but I just don't like the way they approached her character. I thought it added a tonal shift that kind of that took me out of the movie in a sense. Like the goofiness of the character. I like the vileness of the character. I do like the what the character is doing, and I like her as the solution to the mystery. Like I liked all that. But the tone of the character, the Pennywise nature of it didn't work for me. It kind of it jarred me from what else was going on with the movie. Now, that's to say I still really like Weapons, but I think if the character was approached differently, I think it would have been like top of the list this year for me. Like I really think it was going that direction, and then it just didn't hit when she came onto screen. So I just has a different opinion. I'm throwing that out
Okay.
there.
Yeah, I think I've seen that's a similar complaint I've seen. I think your podcast co-host didn't much like this movie either, right? Weapons, or was mild on
Oh,
it.
he didn't like it at all. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's had a lot of
didn't.
issues with it.
And I think this was one of the same issues. Um, yeah, I don't share that one. I like the tone, and I think I was more prepped for it because of Barbarian.
Yeah.
Barbarian also has a similar kind of tonal shift, and into, let's just say, the absurd, you know, and even the
Yeah, I didn't
images.
like that either.
Yeah, yeah, but it's clearly his thing. I mean, it's not. I think it would have more of a shot because you're right. This movie does set you up into like it's like Gone Baby Gone, like missing children. Like it's a dark subject. I mean, it's this is like the most horrible thing
And I
parents
really like the
go through.
different points of view in the segmented stories. I like that a lot.
Yep, it goes by each character is like chapters,
Mhm.
and you see the same kind of periods of time, but through different characters' eyes until you kind of get a reveal. And yeah, I think I was just used to with Barbarian. That movie took me by such storm. I remember seeing it in theaters, like, what the heck? Like at a certain point, you're like, what is going on? That I just assumed this was going to have something like that too. And with her performance, I just like that it, like Jingle said, it's just kind of iconic in the sense of even the way she looks. Like my sister's HBO Max icon is her face for her profile. And it's just like so distinct and even unsettling just looking at it. And for people who are listening that don't know, my big relationship to Amy Madigan is from Field of Dreams. She's Kevin Costner's wife,
Me
and
too.
she's just such a heartwarming character in that movie. So to see her in this, 30 years older, I was like, first of all, I didn't recognize her. I wouldn't even known it was her until I seen the credits. Um, and it is I mean, I don't like makeup, so that automatically just grosses me out immediately. I'm like out when I see just the way she looks. Um, and I'm sure, I don't know, Ian, maybe you didn't like this, but I'm sure Dan didn't or whoever. But the ending with her is like one of my favorite movie moments of the year, where
That I was fine with. Yeah, I
it
like
just
that.
fully commits to that ridiculousness, kind of in a sense. And I was like, oh yeah, this rips. I mean, it ended on such a good note.
Well, I think what I like about that ending too is it is ridiculous. You're right, but it's not.
It follows the
It
rules
it,
of the
it follows the rules. Yeah, it does everything that the magic. We like magic systems here. It's the way the magic system in this movie works, and you fully. I think by the time you get to the end of this movie, you are very ready for that for Amy Madigan to have something happen to her, right? Like you just need like this kind of release of just get her out of here, and they do it in very, very good form.
Yeah, because she's outsmarted. It's not like she's just
Yeah,
defeated. She's actually outsmarted with her
yeah,
own tools. Yeah.
and she uses her tools get used against her. So
Yeah, definitely a cool writing choice and a good pick. So you might be vindicated at the end of the year. So there you
yeah,
go.
yeah, I hope so. I mean, I was very surprised to see the announcements that she was on there. I honestly, after I saw Weapons, I loved it. I kind of expected a Best Picture and maybe some costume nods, but not a supporting actress. That was surprising.
Well, let's go to a another Ian's Best Supporting Actress for a movie only he liked, The Lone Defender.
That's right.
Alone.
So my supporting actress is actually a motion capture performance. And when you think motion capture performance, you think Avatar. In this case, Fire and Ash, the third in the trilogy, and probably the last one that James Cameron's going to direct, and therefore probably the last one I'm going to bother with. Now, a lot of people, I mean, Fire and Ash is a little bit more disappointing than, especially Way of Water, which I really, really loved. It's a step down from that for sure, but I still really enjoyed this movie. I think that it's got a lot of highlights. And one of those is Una Chaplin, who plays the villain, the new villain called Varang. I thought it was Varan when I was first watching it, but I think it's got a G at the end. And Una Chaplin is, in fact, Charlie Chaplin's granddaughter.
Yeah.
Yes, granddaughter, even though it seems like it should be like great granddaughter, but apparently he had kids quite a bit later. And yeah, and I thought she just added, even though it's a motion capture, I think that because of course they model the looks after the actors as well, and so she had a distinctive look. But I felt that she just had a little extra menace to her. And when there's a scene where her tribe basically is capturing other Navi and like cutting off their braids, which is like their connection to the world, and is supposed to be like extremely devastating. And you really get this malice from her that she just does not care about anybody or anything, and she's just going to cause havoc. I do wish that they used her character more at the end. I feel like we didn't get a satisfying ending with her, but I thought her as a villain, especially in the first two acts of the movie, worked really well. And I thought she did a great job of adding a new, interesting character to the mix.
Yeah, I mean, on that topic, I definitely agree with you. I mean, I think she's the best part of the movie. I think she follows a trend of the movies adding a new character that elevates it. Oh my God. And the second one added obviously Paya Khan, who made the movie amazing. So yeah, my issue was that uh, you said she didn't have enough at the end. I don't think she had enough at all in the movie, and I wish the movie would have focused on her character. Like I wish her and her tribe would have been the thrust of the movie. Where I think there's a line in the movie where you know she said she doesn't believe they don't believe in Iwa because the volcanoes kind of like destroyed their homes and things like that. And like, why would you believe in a god? Like, I wish everything was revolved around that idea of their lack of
Agreed.
belief. Like, and I still like Quaritch, so he could be fit in there, but there's just so much other stuff that was just honestly, it was just in the way of water. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they were the same scenes they filmed back to back. Which again, movie I love, probably the top 3 movie of that year for me as well. But I just almost felt I don't mind long movies, but I just felt like cheated at a sense where it's just like, come on, I don't know. It kind of like turned me off almost outside of the movie, and maybe I'll rewatch it again when I have a level head, and I'm not mad at what the movie is, and just watch it as what it actually is. But yeah, she's amazing. I mean, there's a lot of comments, on there about her physicality of the performance. I'll let them stay on there. I agree with them, obviously. But she definitely has a presence. And if I was younger, like a teenager in school watching this movie, I'd probably have her poster in my wall or something, like a little weirdo. But yeah, the scene with her and Quaritch with like her like shooting drugs into his face was really trippy and amazing. And yeah, she's
Yeah.
awesome. It was a great pick.
Yeah, and I love the watching her like hold fire because she's found a way to control it, right, and make it a
Right.
weapon for her and her clan, in her village. But yeah, I remember watching a behind the scenes clip of her recordings after this movie, and it's amazing. Like the one thing Avatar will always have is how amazing the design work is, right? And watching her smile in person and then seeing that like perfectly replicated in the movie, it's like, oh my gosh, yes, this
Mm.
is her acting. This is not just fancy CG work. And that was really impressive. But I don't, yeah, I'm on the same train as Yeti. I was a little disappointed by this movie, especially after Way of Water, because it did just feel like this continued. Um, it felt like there was a lot of reuse. I know that's kind of a weird thing to say, but it did not um, attempt new themes in the way that I kind of hoped it would. Especially because you look at Varang and as the new character, I think she actually has like a lot of stuff to say thematically, and it they did a lot of that. Like that was where those themes came out the most strongly for me was when, you know, you have her and Quaritch interacting with each other. And then the other layer that I really wanted was Varang and Natiri are on a very similar level right now, in that they've kind of fallen in with a human, and are doing, you know, Natiri is out there making a family and trying to protect her tribe and protect her planet. And Varang is kind of on the other side where she's gotten in bed with literally with a human and is helping destroy it. I would have loved to have seen these two interact more, since they
Mm.
are very clearly mirroring each other. The only interaction we really got though was just for Varang to disappear and be like, "I'll be back next movie. Bye," and then jumped out.
That's fair.
Um, so, but yeah, Una Chaplin's performance is great in this. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was expecting like a fight between them on the volcano or something. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the this has kind of The Last Jedi expectations to me. I love The Last Jedi. I think it's a great movie.
Yes.
Um, but watching the internet make a lot of expectations for themselves on like who Snoke was and then having them ripped out kind of mirrors what I think happened with Avatar, because we were like, oh, we're gonna actually do the Avatar: The Last Airbender thing. We're gonna see all these different cultures in different
Right.
locations based on their elements, and then that doesn't really happen in this movie. Um, and so there is kind of that disappointment of expectation. Like I know people were kind of using that more as a joke in this one, in the Avatar's case. Um, but I do think at the end of the day, some people probably did actually want to see like what volcanic tribal culture looked like for this planet and didn't
Mm.
really get a lot of it.
Yeah. Anyway, good pick. She's best part of the movie, so I mean it's worthy.
Yeah. And the only thing I really know her from is Game of Thrones because she
Yeah.
was Rob Stark's wife, and that's the only thing I really recognize her from.
My
Yeah, I thought she was pretty new, honestly.
Yeah.
my neighbor, my in-laws, their neighbors are her husband's parents. So
Okay.
I'm gonna make
Wow.
my
Right there.
my humble brag. I just found that out like a week ago. I was like, oh my god. So next time she comes over for dinner with her husband,
You
please.
can tell her that we nominated
I
her.
know.
Yeah.
Green Team Legendarium nomination. She's like, did I win? I don't
Congratulations.
Eh,
know. I'm gonna do my pick quick. I won't spend too much time on it because we're gonna talk about this later. But I picked Mia Sarah from Life of Chuck, and it's gonna be super hard to talk about this movie. Spoilers, we might do it later. I just want to say with her performance, it's like a three-act structure in Life of Chuck, and she has she pops up in the third act as kind of like a grandmom figure. And I think for people who like this movie, they get really emotionally attached to some of the themes or the ideas behind it. And for me, the only reason it nailed that at the end for me was because of her performance. And yeah, and it's really not a lot of talking either. There's a couple scenes where she's talking to a grandson, but a lot of it is just you know, dancing in a dancing in a kitchen, and just the way she looks, and maybe because I haven't seen her in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but her those scenes are kind of made the movie work for me. Whereas, like, if they didn't have them, there's another performance who plays the grandfather, and that I did not like at all, and I maybe have some hot takes about that. And I thought just her performance was like the definition of like a supporting performance, where she really has minimal screen time, but kind of makes you cry if you're going to cry at certain scenes in the movie.
Good call. She kind of fits the same role as Amy Madigan. It's like this actress from back in the day that you haven't seen in a long time, and then you're like, as you're watching, you're like, is that Sloane? Is that who that is? And yeah, you're right. She's not in it very much, but her role definitely has an impact, and it has an impact for the main character quite a bit once you realize like what her connection to him is, and it works really well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for Life of Chuck, as kind of the player of the most fundamental piece of what makes Chuck's life glow, what makes him happy.
Mhm.
She does an amazing job as the teacher of those moments. Like, yeah, I love the scenes in this movie where they're just dancing together in the kitchen, and you know, finding a relationship with her, yeah, with her grandson, um, is just a really charming and sweet portion of that movie. And it was fun seeing. I'm gonna reference another movie that I just recently watched her in, Time Cop.
Yes. We all just recently watched her, and yes.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
we're talking.
Um, where she kind of the characters are not the same at all, but just kind of this supporting character that drives, like, what happens with the main character in the future. It's nice to see her doing that in a movie that treats it with respect, as opposed to Time Cop.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no steamy nude sex scene with her in this one. 5 minutes into the
No.
movie with Jean Claude Van Damme. Anyway, we'll talk about this movie some more. So stay
Yep.
tuned. All right, let's move into our best actor competition. And Jingles, let's get into it. This is a big one.
Alright.
He went big, the
I
biggest.
went I went big. Uh, it's a new era, folks. We have a new Superman, and his name is David Corn Sweat, and I loved it. Um, I think this performance was everything that I wanted out of Superman and Clark Kent that I never got out of Henry Cavill, and nothing against Henry Cavill, but it was so refreshing to have a guy with a little bit of blank optimism who understands his role in the world, um, and can still kind of see that that he needs to make big decisions, but maybe it's not just on him to make those big decisions, and that he does have a responsibility. And kind of watching him stumble through that through the beginning of Superman when he's being interviewed by Lois, I thought that was one of the best superhero scenes that we've seen in a long time. Because it's a scene without any action, really, any major big action scenes, and he action sequences, and he just watching him go from being like the happy-go-lucky, like, yeah, someone had to do it, and then being pushed on the moral values of making those decisions on his own, um, and kind of seeing him like lose his temper. That was the scene that really nailed, like, this guy is gonna work in this role for a long time, and I'm really excited for that. Because he does it. He's a Philly guy that I'd never heard of, and now he's here, and I'm happy, and I'm ready to go.
I feel like everyone talks about that scene, but I want to talk about it too because it really is so good. The interview with him and Lois, because it's not only it shows off one that he's naive. We have a naive Superman, but not dumb, but just naive. And we also have it's he's getting pushed, which I love you said that. One, he's getting pushed by Lois as like on his morals and what he's actually doing, but also he's getting pushed with Lois like as in a relationship and how new he is to that. I mean, they're only been dating 3 months, but it's just interesting to hear, them go back and forth and him go from like confident, like this naive confidence into frustration like that. And that's someone who can push your buttons, but out of love, and concern for you and still feel such frustration against them. So it's really fun, interesting to see him work just as a romantic relationship. Superman trying to deal with that or Clark. Um, and I love the scene too because who knows how far down the line we have for this, but man, I couldn't help but picture this same exact type of conversation or thing, but with Corn Sweat Superman and someone's Batman. Like it'd be the
Right.
same type of pushing dynamic and like calling him out on things. And I thought it was just like, yeah, that's what I want. Like there's no subtlety between anything Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill did having conversations like this, other than familial names. Like this is like something that could get pushed and just makes for tension. That you don't need a superhero movie that has a ton of action, even though this one still did. But yeah,
Yeah. The movie has plenty of action, but yeah, I agree. I mean, like with Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck, it was these two guys are the extreme version of themselves in every capacity. Like they're incredibly moody. One of them is kind of very much just accepting of the role that he's a god, and the other one is very much accepting of the role that he's a more st- a more um sophisticated man, I guess. I'm trying to think what I would really call Batman, but he is extreme. They're both extreme. And so I am looking forward to the to that interaction when we eventually get it down the road. I've got to assume it's got to be soon.
Yeah, he's got a weird name, but he works as Superman.
Yeah.
It's just not a name that rolls off the tongue. I was like, is he really gonna hit? Because people can't say his name very well. But I think he did a really good job with Superman. Like I think he hits the tone of what people kind of expect from the character. I mean, Christopher Reeve, when he was cast as Superman, I mean that's just simply one of the best casting choices in movies, and so it's always going to be hard to follow that up. But I think that this is definitely the best iteration since then, for sure.
yeah, and it's I agree with that, but unfortunately, the sad news for us is we're old, and I would bet a lot of people who watch Superman don't even know who Christopher Reeve is. So, um,
Yeah, that's I
at the,
know.
it's sad, but it's true. So luckily, like this movie doesn't even like if they mess up Superman, like this movie just doesn't work. No matter what else is in it, Lex could be great. The
Yeah.
Green Lantern guy showing up and everything could work. Crypto, but if he doesn't work, and specifically him with Lois too, it's just not going to be a good movie or something you want to come back to. So he really did have like a lot of weight falling on his broad shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah, and just to this is going to be the only time we really talk about Superman, so I feel like I do got to at least give the honorable mention for supporting actor to Nicholas Holt, just because um, he was the other side of that coin in that movie, and he did a great job. Um, very much a Lex Luthor of our time. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I well, at the beginning of the show, I said that there were big movies this year that a lot of people loved that I wasn't on board with. This is
This
the
Superman.
is
one I
one
was
of them.
referring to.
Oh
Oh
my
my goodness!
gosh!
This is the one
Ew.
I
Damn,
was referring
just
to.
coming out here with the hot takes all day.
Amy Madigan trash.
Yeah.
I
Superman
Superman,
hollow.
forget about it.
I thought all three leads were like I liked Nicholas Holt as well, but I thought that who's the lady that plays Lois though? because doesn't she have another name that doesn't roll off the tongue? I
Yeah.
think, but I thought that both of them were really good. I thought I didn't like what James Gunn was doing overall. I do like what he did with the character though. Like I think that they're hitting the Superman character just right. Which is why ultimately I think that there's a lot of promise in the future, but
I mean, we'll see if it can keep up with Supergirl this year. So
I have no faith in that. Sorry. I want to. Rachel Brosnahan.
yeah, Rachel Brosnahan is Lois Lane.
But yeah, we'll see. I mean, you're not really a James Gunn guy though, are you?
I love the Guardians movies, but no, I wouldn't say that I am because I think I don't know.
You hated his Suicide Squad. Shameful.
I did. Yeah, I also felt that this movie was a bit of a response to a lot of people's criticisms of Superman in an obvious way, if that makes sense. I don't know.
That he needed to be too good, you know. It was like swung too much in the other direction where he's like too good two shoes and less dark in a way.
I don't know. The goody two shoesness I like, but more of he just really dived into like the minutia of comic book nerdery. If that makes like he's like, oh, we're gonna add in all these obscure characters that only the hardcore comic fans will know, and he really went hard into that. But I mean, that's kind of his thing. I mean, the Guardians is all that too. So
yeah, I mean, I guess for that, not to need to make excuses for James Gunn's decision making at all, but I do think like the choice to do some of those characters like Mr. Terrific, who also I thought was great in this movie, and Hawk Girl and not Hal Jordan Green Lantern, a different Green Lantern, Guy Gardner. I do feel like a lot of those decisions are just because he wanted some form of Justice League in here, which has always kind of been a thing with the Superman comics, right? Where he's always being compared to the other heroes. But you can't have any of the really big ones in yet because of production choices and things, which is a silly thing, but that's what movies are these days for big IP. So
yeah, and I think his old employer just changed how superhero movies are. Like you almost always have to have either a team or cameos of other, characters. I mean, I think Fantastic Four is the only one who really, I guess they're a team, but who really just were contained. Where all these movies now, someone has to pop in. It can't just be Superman. You know, even Crypto being there was kind of like, oh, I can't just have Superman. Like the days of the Christopher Reeve original or Superman Returns or even Man of Steel are over with. I don't think studios feel like people will come to see it, and it gets in the way of storytelling maybe, and just a simple good story, But I feel like the Marvel kind of twisted that.
I'll put I don't know if this is a hot take, but as much as I loved Crypto, he was in the way a lot in this movie. I think.
I think it's a warm take. I've heard the anti-crypto people. I see them and I shun them.
I didn't hate him, but I did sometimes was like, oh, we're gonna do a dog joke right now. Great.
All right, Ian, let's get to your best actor who may very well also win an Oscar.
He is up for it, and that's Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, who's playing a dual role. He's playing twins. And what I was really impressed with was how distinctive he made those two characters, right? They're twins and they have a similar goal and similar drives, and they work together, and they are like best friends as well as twin brothers. But they're also very different. Like they have very different personalities, and he plays it so well that you don't really question which one is on screen when he's on screen. You know exactly which brother it is. By the way, the brothers, the Smoke and Stack, great movie names. like great twin movie names.
Fantastic names.
Yeah. But it was to the point where like in January, I was watching the Golden Globes, and of course he was there because he was nominated as well, and sitting at the table with all the other Sinners actors and crew. And I was like, there's somebody missing at that table because I was expecting two of him to be there, right? Like he convinced me so well that these were two other people that I was expecting to see two people in real life as well. Like I just thought he did such a great job. And I don't know who I want to actually win the Oscar this year because I really liked Leo in his role as well, not science fiction fantasy, so we're not bringing it up here. But he also, I think they both deserve it. I think that he's if Michael B. Jordan wins this Oscar, I will be very happy as well.
Oh, unfortunately, he will not. You'll have to watch your Dune
I
loser
don't
win.
think he's going to either, but
Yeah.
is that what you said?
That's right. Your, your skinny jean wearing
You think
savior.
he's winning over Leo, hey?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
told you. I told you. I think Leo's always underrated. They just always take his performances for granted for whatever reason. I wish he would. I agree. I love Leo in that movie. He's like honestly incredible. Like, how funny he is and like what he does. But
Yeah. I mean, I just watched that movie recently, One Battle After Another, and I loved Leo. He was not the standout for me. I kind of everyone when he was off screen, I kind of forgot he was even there. Like I feel like Sean Penn and
Benicio,
the what's her name?
Chase Infinity.
Uh, yeah, Jason. Yeah, I think they were superb. But and Benicio del Toro,
Yeah,
man's
few small beers.
gold. Yeah.
Um, yeah, with you're right, Ian. Michael B. Jordan's performance, I think, is really underrated going into
Yeah.
award season in general. I mean, seamlessly, you don't even think that it's the same person doing it. And I like how even thoughts put into their outfits. You know, this type of hats they wear. I think we talked about this. Like, speaks to the kind of persona they have. Like the big flat brimmed hat is more of a loud persona, where the cap is more of a quieter kind of take on it. And yeah, I mean he's just he's so good in that movie that it's hard to kind of think who else could do that. You know, when they said that this was
Right.
happening, I remember it was announced Ryan Coogler was making a vampire movie and Michael B. Jordan would be playing twins. I immediately said, "This is dumb." Like I was like, "There's no, I don't want to see this. I rather why not just get two, another person to play as actor? Why do they have to be twins?" Um, but if you listen to Coogler in an interview, he always goes on about how fascinated he is by the relationship between twins, and that there really is something cosmic to it. And this movie kind of shows it. It's the most emotional I probably got in a theater this year, and it's with one actor playing the same role, hinging on stuff like that. So yeah, he's amazing. People say we don't have movie stars anymore, and that's probably true, or we don't have as many as we used to. But I think between him and Timothy Chalamet, I think those for the guys that they're like leading the pack, or at least he should be thought of in that way.
Yeah, he definitely commands the screen. There's a scene
Yeah.
where he's getting a young girl to watch his truck for him. And when that scene comes on, you're like, oh, this guy's like, this character is frightening. And like, he has total command of what's going on in this movie. That's especially when somebody tries to take stuff from the truck. It was a very good scene. And it really convinced me that like, oh, I'm in for a good time.
And that's the level-headed brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was smoke. Yeah, I think when I first saw the trailer for this movie, there was the shot of them standing together passing a cigarette.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's Michael B. Jordan. That's also Michael B. Jordan. And then I was a little concerned. And then I watched the movie. I'll be honest, Sinners, I was looking forward to it when I saw the trailer and then completely forgot about it until like the week it was released. And then went and watched it, and now yeah, it's a movie I'm gonna come back to regularly. Um,
Well, in the circles that we're in, like the science fiction fantasy people, this is the movie of the year, right? Like this
oh
is
yeah,
the one that
I don't even.
everybody seems to love.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
think there's any doubt there.
I saw Lord Ash through a little trepidation in our Discord. He didn't expand on it, but I clocked it. Don't worry,
You
sir.
clocked it.
Well,
It's there.
you gotta cut out the outliers, right? Like the people
Yeah.
who don't like Superman, for example, just get rid of them, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
there's just so few good fantasy and science fiction stuff that it's like when you get like something like Sinners, it feels like a glass of water in the desert almost.
yeah, I'll just say because this will probably also be one we come back to. Um, I think Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler are one of those director actor combos that I hope we get for a long, long time because I
absolutely.
love the way that uh, they keep experimenting and it keeps paying off. It's always good. So
Amen. All right, let's keep it moving. I'll go to my best actor, and I picked 28 Years Later by Danny Boyle, Alfie. I think you say Alfie Williams, who I don't think I've ever seen before. It's a child performance, and he plays the son of oh, what the heck's that guy's name? Who always thinks he's going to be the new Bond? Aaron Taylor
Aaron Taylor
Johnson.
Johnson, yeah.
Yep, and he, it takes place 28 years later after 28 days later, and they're secluded on this island with like a nice little runway from the zombies. And I think one of the reasons I liked it so much is going into this movie. One, I had no idea why they made this movie or what was going to be about, but I assumed it'd be about Aaron Taylor Johnson. I mean, he's one of the biggest actors, or not biggest actors, but in the movie, he's one of the bigger names, or at least maybe Ralph Fiennes. Is that how you say his last name? Um,
Ray Fiennes, yeah.
Ray Fiennes, and who's in it, obviously a supporting role, but just seeing the names, I'm like, oh, it's going to be rotating around one of these guys, and it's actually all about this character Spike, who is much like a character we meet at the very beginning and very end, is growing up in a world with chaos and horrors, and yeah, he just kind of blew me away by his presence with all these actors. I'm blanking on his mom's name. She was in The Last Duel. Um, but the first half is essentially spent with his dad, and the second half is essentially spent with his mom. And I just love the way he portrayed a child who, when parents let you down, essentially, it's really obvious with the father, in the multiple ways, you see him let him down, and a little less conventional, I would say, in the way his mother lets him down. I don't want to spoil things, but does let him down in a sense, and how that affects you as honestly a young child, and uh, the emotions he went through with anger with his father at certain scenes, fear when he's going, bow hunting disgusting naked zombies with their wangs out. And there's one scene kind of near the end where him and his mom are like camped out, and there's a quiet moment, and she's joking with him, and he just makes this face where he sticks his tongue out and like makes a cute face, and she does it back to him. And I thought it was like one of the most sincere moments in movies I've seen in a while, where him just showing like there's just this for many of us, I don't want to speak for everyone, but just a comfortness we have with our parents that is just you just don't find ever again. I think even with your spouses or your best friends, there's just this innate comfort level you have with your parents, and I that scene like really spoke to me. Just little silly faces they make as they're about to sleep and hopefully not get attacked by aliens and or sorry, zombies in the middle of the night. And I thought he's amazing. I mean, there's we watch so many bad kid performances that I think the good ones should be rewarded.
What's a tough ask in a movie like this for a kid to basically be the lead? Like in a movie like I don't know Super 8 or something,
Right.
it's expected that the kids are going to be running that movie. But in a movie like this dark zombie thriller where you're like most people didn't expect that a kid is going to be the main character. He's going to be the guy that's kicking around with his dad maybe. But it's a tough ask, and yeah, he does a really good job with it.
Yeah. And I think yeah, Alfie Williams does a great job. I mean, yeah, like y'all said, it's hard to find lead actors that are kids. And it's usually, kind of just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks for most movies. But, um, this movie does a really great job of making this kind of like a quest fantasy for a kid. So the role actually fits really well. And, a lot of this is his coming of age story as he tries to go do this thing with his mom, and eventually a little kid, and just watching him kind of get thrown into ex these forced situations of responsibility. He handles them really well.
Yeah. So, and I was even thinking about like with movie or television actors, kids, like, because obviously watching Dunk and Egg right now. It's fantastic, great show. And the egg actor is really good too, but he also isn't like he's not in every scene, and
No.
he's he has smaller scenes and things like that, not as much dialogue. Whereas like this is a kid carrying essentially a movie, and with Danny Boyle, at the helm. It's kind of fantastic. Now, anyone who's seen the second movie, they pivot to another person to take the lead. He kind of
Okay,
shifts
I
more
was
into
just
a
gonna ask, like, is
supporting.
he also carrying? So he's
Present in
not
that
really
movie.
carrying the second movie
Yeah,
as much,
he's. I mean, you could
or the
argue he is,
fourth,
but it really
whatever.
he's not a he's in it, but like speaking roles, I'd say moves more to a supporting. He's more of an observer of things going on. There's another glorious actor who I can't wait till next year to talk about the Bone Temple. That movie, I'll never stop talking about how much I love that movie.
I'm
Incredible
excited to
movie.
see it. I really want to see it. This movie was a really fun return to this franchise because I forgot, like, the first movie's great, but it is very typical kind of zombie fare. The second movie, other than being pleasantly reminded that Jeremy Renner is in it,
Yeah,
which I
yeah.
completely forgot about, is kind of just a meh film. Although also trying to focus on kids a little bit. Um, and then, yeah, being able to come back to this and have a full on kid performance is really good.
I mean, you
But
say that, okay, so you say the first one's typical zombie fare, but I think that
Yeah, it's
that's the movie that set what a modern zombie movie is gonna be,
yeah,
right? Like, that's
I was gonna push
yeah,
back a little bit. I think there's a lot I think that kinda sets a template for a lot of especially even the way it's
yeah.
filmed, like, this movie does it too with these, like, jarring cuts and, it almost makes it uncomfortable, but shooting to quick chase, zombies can run at you and things, and I think Boyle filmed his with, like, a crappy camera for the first one, like,
Yeah, it
really
doesn't
low
look
bu
good. It's not a
yeah,
good
well,
looking movie.
and wasn't part of the gimmick of, like, this movie was 28 Years Later was all shot on an
I
iPhone or something?
iPhone, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
that's
I
kind
don't
of been
I don't know if it
Danny
all
Boyle's
was, but
shtick, right? Yeah.
but yeah, so but I'm with you. I don't think I needed this movie at all. Like when it was announced, I was like, oh, I guess I'll see it because Danny Boyle's back. But I was just like, I thought it was like an IP grab, like, oh, a studio needs to put out IP. And no, this is Alex Garland writing the script. Danny Boyle directed. The next one's Nia
Yeah.
DaCosta, but still Alex Garland. Like, there's so much these films are saying that it's kind of absurd that they made them. Like, it really is absurd that we have these movies.
That's what I think Alex Garland was the bigger pull for me just recently, just with what he's been putting out,
Amen,
more
brother.
so than Danny Boyle, but yeah.
Amen. All right. Let's go to our last acting competition. We're going to do Best Actress, and we'll go with Jingle's pick. And I know Ian cannot wait to talk about this one.
It's definitely his favorite movie of 2026. You watched it
oh, for
just
sure.
yesterday, right? Yeah.
You bet.
All right. For Best Actress, I chose Sally Hawkins in Bring Her Back. Um,
Both your
and
actress roles, very, very similar vibe you got going on
very
here,
similar vibes.
Jingles.
But
What a
yeah,
movie.
very similar vibes. This movie is the follow-up to oh man, the what are their last names? Yeti, do you remember?
It's a weird name. They're Australian. Talk to Me was their first movie.
Yeah. Um,
I'll look it up.
the Filippo brothers.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, so this is the follow-up to Talk to Me, the from the Filippo brothers, and this is the story of what it says in the title. Someone has lost someone and they want to bring them back. And so Sally Hawkins is the someone who lost somebody. Um, and my gosh, is this woman horrifying. Just absolutely horrid human being. Um, just there is a lot of extravagance to what this story is trying to do. Particularly in the ritual that is kind of centered around trying to bring a person back. And I think that you need to have a character like Sally Hawkins's character, and you need a person to actually be able to perform that role in a very particular way so that it doesn't seem too cheesy or too campy or any other kind of negative connotation that you can give to a role um, to make it work. And Sally Hawkins does that. Like I understand her feelings as a mother. I understand her desperation in the efforts that she is trying to perform. And I am also broken down by the idea that she thinks that other kids are worth sacrificing to
Mhm.
make this happen. Um, and so watching her kind of work through the role and change from being kind of a caring person to an absolute sociopath or psychopath is just a really impressive feat. And I also really like. I think this is like only the first time I've seen Sally Hawkins since The Shape of Water, which is a very different role. So that was a stark contrast. Um, but I know this movie is not going to get much attention as far as the actual Oscars are concerned, which is why I wanted to put it here because I do think it is a good contender. It's a little bit weaker than Talk to Me, in my opinion, but it's not a sophomore slump by any means. So,
Yeah. I tend to agree with you. I I really like about her performance that like in the beginning, like obviously she's kind of hateable at the end of what she's going for and things, but even when you meet her, there's just small moments. There's a scene where idiotically this one kid leaves his phone on the bed and unlocked, like just with the screen on. He was making fun of someone in her family previously, texting it. And she has the guile to take it and read it, and he, like, grabs he looks behind him, he's, "Hey, what are you doing?" And she, like, plays, "Oh, yeah, no, sorry, just, but, like, even, like, something like that, which is, like, a pet peeve, I would hate if someone did that to me. Like, these little, like, moments like that that aren't, like, evil, but just, like, rubs you the wrong way as a person, that she flickers these things out throughout the way she talks to this one boy, almost a lot of gaslighting, obviously.
Yeah,
Um
definitely.
before you actually get into just the horrible nature that she is. And again, I like that you picked a actor who's kind of like uh, putting a twist on her previous performances or going against the grain. Whereas, like, I know her from the Paddington movies,
yeah.
this nice jovial person, and it's like, oh yeah, she's twisting on
Not
that,
a
and
not a lot of forcing kids to wet themselves in Paddington happening. Is
no,
that no?
Paddington
no.
didn't eat a kitchen knife. No, nothing.
No. And I agree. I think this movie got a lot of criticism. Not it was mixed, I'd say. Where Talk to Me was um, pretty overwhelmingly positive, and I thought it was better than the critics say. Not, I know people maybe Ian or they're just not the type of movies. That's fine, but for like horror fans, I thought this was. I don't
It was
see
well
some of the
crafted.
criticisms. Yeah,
Yeah, I did appreciate the craft of the movie and this performance for sure. Yeah. I think the script had some ending problems,
sure.
Yeah.
but I think it could have just had something more interesting to resolve it. But um, I do have a specific idea of what that could have been. Anyway, but she's like, if this is another one where if her performance doesn't work, the movie does not work.
Mhm.
Like
Absolutely.
she has to nail it, otherwise the whole thing falls apart. I mean, outside of the fact that some of us just think that it's gross and disgusting and doesn't work anyway, but for even for people like Jingles, this movie wouldn't work if it doesn't work. So those
Oh
of
yeah.
you who can stomach the things
It
that
is,
I can't
yeah,
necessarily stomach.
it is gross. There's no doubt about that. There's one scene that I remember seeing in theater. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this.
Yeah,
It's
I
just,
had to look away. I was like, no, no, no.
No, we're done.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, we all know the scene, like, that's by far the most graphic of the scenes in the movie. I I I actually yelled out in the theater, "Oh, damn!" Like, it just like I was not expecting that. Oh,
Yeah. Like you're expecting something to happen, but not that.
yeah, right?
Oy. Yeah. But it's definitely an interesting choice for best actress. I do like the pick.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, she's again, she owns that movie. I mean, it's,
yeah. That's what the original iteration of this, it didn't change too much. I think I added David Cornswet and felt bad about it. But I was like, all the characters I'm choosing are like the most awful people in these movies this year. Like, there is
But
something
those are the juicy
satisfying.
roles, right? Like even back to the
Yeah,
days of Shakespeare, like Lady Macbeth is the juicy role you
you
want.
want the
Like
role,
that's
yeah.
yeah.
And
It
it's
just
and it's
is kind
fun
of the way
watching
it
people
is.
kind of just unravel in certain ways,
Yeah.
right? I don't know.
Yeah. Good pick.
alrighty, Ian. Let's go back to a certain movie with your pick
Oh yeah.
and
Okay.
return.
Yeah, so we're gonna go back to Companion because Jingles had Jack Quaid as his supporting actor pick, but I'm gonna go with Sophie Thatcher as the lead role of Iris, his girlfriend, we'll say,
Yeah.
and uh, I just thought that she was wonderful. Like she really captured the vulnerability that this character needed and the naivete that this character needed. She knew exactly what to do with this role, which is not, once you know what the movie is doing and what the premise is all about, you realize that that's not easy to do. And to get our sympathy, like the audience's sympathy, she needs to capture that, despite the nature of her character. And she does through the entire movie, which is no small feat in given the premise that she's given. I'm sorry, I'm really talking around that, but
It's a
uh,
really difficult thing not to spoil.
yes, but she works really well, and this is an actress that I just I think that she's got it, and I want to see her in more things. I hope she's not just restricted to these kind of horror thriller roles. I want to see her in lots of other things. Like she was in what's the name of that one Jingles with Hugh Grant? What's the name of that movie?
Heretic.
Yes. She's the lead in that, and she's also wonderful. I knew her from Yellow Jackets, which is not a
Mhm.
show to take lightly. Don't just go watch Yellow Jackets. Just find out what it's about first. Which is not which is a show that did turn me off after a while. But
My wife likes
even
that show.
even watching mine too. But even watching that, I'm like, oh, she's the standout of this show. Like she is the one that
Easily.
like that's or as long as I continued with that show, she was the reason I kept watching that show because I thought that her role and her character there was great. And since then, once I started seeing her pop up in these movies, and especially this one, I'm like, oh, I'm really interested to watch. Like, I think that's why I wanted to watch this movie in the first place, is because I wanted to see what she did in the lead role. And yeah, she's great, and I really hope to see her in a lot more things going forward.
Yeah, same. I mean, I think yeah, I've been watching her since Yellow Jackets. And although the original thing I saw her in was Book of Boba Fett. And if you don't remember her in that, it's because that show should leave no impression on you whatsoever. But she's one of the biker gang. She's the
Well,
lead
that
biker
did make an
gang
impression
in
on
that.
me. I'll tell you.
Did
That's the one thing that
it?
ugh, the biker
Maybe
gang. Yikes!
no positive. Yeah. No positive impressions.
No.
Um, but yeah, seeing her in Yellow Jackets and looking at her filmography right now, she's only been active for the last 10. I mean, she's pretty young, but she's only been
Yeah.
active for like the last 10 years. You're right. I really hope that she gets a little bit more. She's very much been in the horror sphere, and I think that's probably because that's a pretty easy starting point for a lot of actors and actresses to get into some of these cheaper made movies. Um, she was one of the She was in another movie that I actually put in one of
Oh,
these
yeah.
episodes, Boogeyman,
Oh,
which
all right.
yeah, um,
I thought you were gonna say Heretic. It's like she was great in that.
that's what that got excluded because it's not really sci-fi
Oh,
or
yeah, that's
fantasy.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
um,
Unless you count his architect design,
right.
that house.
That is a fantasy. Um, but she's one of those people, like, she's not to stardom yet in, like, the sense of, like, Michael B. Jordan or Will Poulter or any of these other guys that we've talked about today, but she's gotta be getting there soon. Like, anytime I see that she's attached to a project, I'm, like, immediately interested, because she has proven to be, a strong performance in everything, and Companion being one of her more prominent, lead roles, just kind of proves that she needs to be in that spotlight,
Agreed.
in my opinion, because, yeah, you're right. Being a girlfriend in this particular movie requires a certain level of sympathy, uh, that honestly, like, in today's era, might be
Hard to do.
hard to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, and I do think she brings enough humanism, factor humanity to that role that it makes it, sometimes that you kinda forget exactly what's going on, and what she is, so
Yeah. I liked her performance in this. Even just watching closely, if you know what quote unquote the twist is, the way she walks in certain scenes, like there's a grocery store scene that's popular in this. It's very specific.
yeah,
You can tell by the way she walks, something's up about her. The way she acts towards the boyfriend character, she's very um, pleasing all the time, and what not just the way her answers are, and just even just her facials, like expressions that she always wants to make sure her boyfriend is in a good mood or satisfied in some way. So it was just interesting seeing that before you kind of know the twist or anything, and it's like, oh yeah, it all kind of makes sense. Like she's all working that into her performance, and then interestingly, when she, there's like something happens in the middle of the movie near the end that like she has to change her performance again, kind of heighten it to a certain extent because of what's going on, and she just kind of nails it. It really is kind of a layered thing with what her character goes through. It's almost like three different characters and stages in what happens in this movie and what she finds out.
I think her highlight scene is probably the one with the candle on at the
yeah,
table. Like,
yeah, they use that in a
yeah,
ton of
that's where.
promos, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think we did a very poor job talking around this movie, and I'm pretty
I
sure
know.
that if anybody didn't know, they figured it out.
Yeah, yeah, I do feel bad, but, this
Oh, they'll never guess. You gotta watch
Yeah.
it.
let's just say the publicity team did a lot better coverage of hiding this than we did, but
Yeah.
that's alright.
Anyway, but she's
I'm
great. We want to let's see her in more stuff.
Yeah. I'll say, yeah, I would recommend watching the movie, even if because I think I knew
Oh
I
yeah,
knew what was
Oh,
I
did
about,
you?
and I
suspected as
still,
well.
yeah, and it was still really enjoyable as a film. All right. So for my best actress pick, the final one, I am also going with someone who was nominated for an Oscar this year. Not for this
Okay.
movie, of course, but that's fine. Should have been. And I picked Elle Fanning in Predator Badlands, the second Predator movie to come out this year. The first one was the animated one,
Killer of
Killer,
killers.
yes, which was also pretty dope. But I did Predator Badlands, which is essentially like I guess you can't really. It's about a predator who's kind of the runt of his family, and he essentially has to go on like a quest to prove himself, so to speak, to his family. And in the middle of that, he gets sent to the most dangerous planet, around, and he meets Elle Fanning's character, and it becomes kind of like a buddy, odd couple, you know, movie about two people who are working together that shouldn't, and but what I really loved about Elle Fanning's performance, I don't know her. I don't know why I said just her first name. Was that the movie, if it wasn't for her, she kind of brings the levity down, where it's kind of, predators aren't like jokey characters. We really don't know much about them at all. They don't really talk, but in this one, you kind of get a personality with the predators and see their kind of, you know, gruff, and they don't really have a humor or anything about them, and the film can get bogged down with that if you don't have something to balance it out. And I felt way she balanced it out while also kind of being not annoying. I think there's a really fine line when you have characters like this where it's like, oh, this person's kind of annoying me, or this sidekick or whatever is like, you just want them to be in it less. Trying to think of an example, but there's maybe Olaf, I don't know. But but I thought she kind of just rode the balance so well and had such good chemistry with, I don't know the actor who played the predator, but they really were great together. And yeah, so I'm trying to dance around another spoiler, but I'll just say there's more depth to her performance because she kind of has to do more than just that. You find out later in the film, and it kind of also works where it's like, oh, she's got range, and she's and especially with who the villain is in this turns out to be in this movie, it really kind of brings it all together, and what she's doing in it is more than just a plucky sidekick. I would say there's more heart to it and more kind of moral compassion, I guess, or just there's more on our shoulders than what I first thought going into it when I was watching it. I was pleasantly surprised. I think this is one of my most entertaining views of the year. I think I told you guys it's like Disney trying to turn Predator into a Star Wars like franchise. And I think for the better. I actually like that they're doing this. Um, of course, I like the rated R Predator the best, the first one, and hopefully there's a world for that. But it seems like Dan Trachtenberg, the director, isn't just pigeonholing Predator into one type of thing. It's all different types of worlds, which I like. And this is like the Mandalorian version.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Trachtenberg's doing, a pretty solid job, diversifying the Predator franchise. Because, yeah, in the last 3 movies, we've had one that is pretty much just reboot Predator, but it's not a reboot because it actually, focuses on the time period being a key component of why it's happening. Killer of Killers gives you a little bit more of that, but it is animated, and um, it goes a little bit further by the end, which I think is really fascinating. And then, yeah, this movie is more, again, that coming of age story for for a kid predator. He's a little bit older than kid, but
Like the
um,
runt of the group, like
yeah,
the
definitely the youth and the disrespected youth, right?
right.
Um, and I think, for the Predator franchise, the premise of the most dangerous game can definitely run a little thin. And I say that kind of reluctantly. I do kind of miss that
Not for me,
aspect in this
baby.
movie. Yeah. Um, I do kind of miss that part in this movie, but once you get past for me, once I got past that and actually just kind of focused on what they were doing with this, Elle Fanning really does kind of glue this all together with a little bit more, like you said, a little bit more levity, but it's not over the top. Um, and also brings in other components of this universal expansion
Which I
that
wasn't a fan of at first. Immediately,
I
my
was a
first
little
thought was like,
worried.
"Oh, come on." Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little worried because it kind of set me up for an expectation of what was going to happen in the end, and it didn't. It didn't. So, I think that was good, and just watching her do like some duality with this character was fun.
And she's, like, only one really speaking English,
Yeah,
The other characters speaking, his whatever predator language, so you see
predator
subtitles, like
language.
yeah. So
Dutch, I
really
think.
she what's that?
Dutch, maybe.
It could be anything, I don't know. Oh, Dutch because the character Dutch and Predator? Didn't play. Must have
I thought it was a good joke, Ian.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a lot riding there, and she still does a good job, compared to having to speak to no one else speaking English.
Right. I mean, and she very much becomes the face of this movie because I apologize. I don't know who the actor of the Predator is, and he's the main character. Um, maybe to be expected. I think that, you know, I feel like they'll probably put whoever they want behind that makeup when they need to, but um and yeah, and the performance there is not anything new or new or amazing.
Right. I'm
Yeah,
not pronouncing his name. My apologies. Demetrius is his first name.
Demetrius, okay.
Ian refused to see it because he's done with the Predator franchise.
I
Pray did
mean,
you in, huh?
I just didn't know if. Oh no, I like Prey quite a bit, but I just didn't know if I needed world building in my Predator movies. But then again, I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a try because I mean, one of the coolest things about Predator 2 was when you kind of saw inside the ship and
Oh
saw
yeah.
the trophies and stuff. It kind of triggers some like, oh, what's going on here? But I don't know. I just, I was gonna watch it for the show, but it's not available to watch in Canada.
Yeah.
At least I
Oh,
can't,
really?
couldn't figure out a way to do it.
It's
So
unfortunate.
didn't happen.
Yeah.
So you'll watch it later. I'll edit your opinion back in months later into this episode. At the very end. No, I'm just kidding.
I will say that. I mean, yeah, you may not remember who plays the Predator in this, but I do think it's a nice tidbit that the guy who originally played the Predator also
Oh
played
yeah.
Harry in Harry and the Hendersons.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? I
Didn't
thought
he
you were
also
gonna
play
go.
Jason at some point?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I can't remember.
I thought you were gonna do the fun fact of who originally played the Predator before that guy and got fired.
Oh, you remind me because it's in my head, but I can't pull it out.
Jingles, do you know?
No.
I'll give you a clue. It could be our second time cop callback today.
Oh, yes, that's right.
No way, really?
Jean-Claude,
Jean-Claude
yeah.
Van Damme. Yeah,
Jean-Claude.
they
Short.
Can
fired
you
him. He's doing.
Short.
imagine a predator doing splits, like,
Yeah,
between 2 trees?
in a better world, maybe. All right. Well, let's end this episode. Let's get to our the movies, our best films, the prestigious award, the Green Team Sci-Fi and Fantasy Best Film, and I'll let you guys go. So you guys have the same Best Picture,
Oh, we picked the same
and
one.
Yeah.
I'll let you both go at the same time. But Jingles, you can start it off, and Ian, you can go too. But yeah,
On there.
Sure.
tell us what you guys picked.
Alright. We chose, Mike Flanagan's Life of Chuck based on Stephen King's, novella of the same name. Um, oh, man. Where to This movie makes me just feel good. Like, that's the best thing I can say about this movie is Stephen King has a history of doing a lot of, like, actually really great heartfelt stories that have been actually pretty solid adaptations. Um, that's what The Shawshank Redemption being the most obvious one, and, but then there's also The Green Mile and Stand By Me, and I would add this into that fold of, it's just a really solid feel-good movie that does not shy away from focusing on kind of a scary thing, like, our mortality and what we bring to our lives and how we, um how we make the most of what we are and the ways that the smaller moments can be grand and everyone we see, whether they are just part of the scenery or actually someone that we speak to and have a huge impact on our lives, how they become a part of us and that has value. Um, I don't know how we there's a lot of spoilers in this one too. The structure of this movie is very strange. And I
Yes.
think for a lot of people, like it is one of those things that might actually turn them off the movie because there's very much an expectation of a, m- a mystery Like, who is Chuck? What is Chuck doing? And why, at the end of the world, is everyone thanking him for existing? I mean, that's what the promos are, right? And once you actually start unraveling that mystery, you get a very bizarre structure for the film. Um, and I think it can actually actively turn people off because it's not what they expected. Um, so, Ian, you got anything to add?
Well, I it was interesting because I think both of us were like arguing whether it fits in the sci-fi fantasy that we're doing today, but I
Yeah.
think it does. And I think once you start watching the first act, especially, you're like, oh yeah, okay. Because I'll be honest, when I went into this, the only thing I knew about this movie was that poster with with Loki dancing or whatever, doing some weird dance move on the post. That was literally the only thing I knew about it. And so when I went in, I'm like, oh, the movie is this? And it was like, oh, and then it immediately intrigued me. But I think you're right about like it that might not work for everybody. I was just listening to a podcast um called the Board Game Box Office, which I've had the main guy there on mine as well, and he just mentioned like he was so disappointed after what the movie was set up to be and what it became that it kind of turned him off the movie. And I was like interested because I was like, oh, that's not at all what happened with me. Like I it pulled me through the entire thing, and I kept getting more and more interested with what this movie is saying and what this is about. And it's got some big ideas. Like it's very cosmic kind
Yeah.
of ideas that are also very small in scope to a specific person. Very much like the Tree of Life. I don't know if you guys ever saw that, but it kind of gave me that same big scope, but also small scope at all at the same time kind of deal. And I think this movie works really well for that. I also said it was like my movie of the year, not just science fiction fantasy, but just
Yeah.
of the
Wow.
year as
Oh,
well.
you threw it all the way up. Oh,
Oh
dang.
my
Nice.
god.
Okay.
Yep. I don't know if that holds up. I mean, I haven't seen it since I first saw it in theaters. I haven't There's a couple movies I want to rewatch, and I just watched Hamnet, which I know Matt Yeti. I don't know if you're that big of a fan of. You talked about it, but I that movie really worked for me. So
Okay.
now I'm not really sure where I stand with my movie of the year, but this is certainly in the running.
I'll say Hamnet has one of the best endings of a film this year. The rest of it, I was very mixed on. It might
Okay.
not be a
Yeah.
Clo person, but the ending is fantastic. Like that, I love that ending. That was I had to wait till everyone left the theater so I could wipe my eyes. Um, yeah, Life of Chuck. I loved it in theaters. I rewatched it and liked it a little less. It's funny. I think we were on the Discord talking about adaptations recently, and like what makes a good adaptation. If a movie even has to really just because it's not a good adaptation of the book doesn't mean it's any less of a movie. It's not the point of it. And this one, I felt like maybe adapted it too strong in some senses, right? I just wouldn't have. I really didn't like the narration this time around.
Yeah.
The Nick Offerman narration. I don't know if it's because I didn't want his voice narrating it, or would have rather let it play out what was happening without him telling us these things. I couldn't tell. Um, but it's still, the first section, I didn't, in the theater, like he had said, it was really kind of like, like my expectation from the first to the second was jarring. It was like scary. I'm like, oh, is this like a horror? I'd even read the novella. I just forgot. I didn't know it was called The Life of Chuck. So when I saw the movie, I was like, this is kind of, once it got to the second and third, I was like, oh, it's definitely familiar. I was like, oh yeah, I read this. Um, but it just takes such a jarring turn. But I really enjoyed that turn once it gets more sentimental, and I mean, the second half is just a guy dancing, like I said, Tom Hiddleston dancing. But I don't know, schmaltzy stuff like that kind of moves me, so I'm not immune to that, and I think it might have pushed a lot of people away. Um, but what my favorite part, or the thing I like talking about the most, is like the third act, which gets a real flashback to the main character as a young child, and kind of getting a crush on a girl and learning to dance and his relationship to his grandparents. And like I said, I found that just incredibly moving in one sense with his grandmother. And then on rewatch, I don't know if I should do this hot take now, but I think Mark Hamill's like a really bad actor. And like, I just, I can't get over it. He's just getting more and more roles, and I like him as a person, but I thought he was really bad in this movie and over the top. He has one speech I kinda like about math, kind of, at his desk that he gives his grandson wasn't bad, but a lot of it, I'm just like, he almost ruined some scenes with me. I know this is heresy for Star Wars fans, but I couldn't. I wish it was someone else. I really think it would have been like an all-time favorite for me if he wasn't that grandfather figure. Especially because a lot of it hinges on like I don't want to spoil anything. There's a magic room, let's say, that goes into an attic or a room that plays into place, and some of his reaction shots, I was like, "Alright, I've had enough of this." But, um, but overall, I really liked. I think it's a great adaptation of the novella, and Mike Flanagan's like, I'm pro Mike Flanagan. I think this movie's more divisive than I initially thought. I thought this was overwhelmingly positive. It won the Toronto International Film Festival a couple years ago, and if it would have
Mhm.
released the year it won, it probably would have been an Oscar contender. Instead, they pushed it a year and kind of just went unnoticed. But um, yeah, I really like. I think it's a worthy best picture, and it sticks with me. I mean, I still can vividly remember a lot of the scenes and stuff. So,
Yeah. Um,
am I wrong about
I
Mark
liked.
Hamill? Sorry.
I no no
I don't know. I don't know that you are.
I don't think you are. I did not have a negative reaction to his role in this movie, but I don't think he's. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think he's a particularly great actor.
I
I
think
do
it
think
Um,
he
also
is one. I do think he is one Oscar-worthy role, but well, I'll leave it at that.
yeah.
um,
Um,
the Jane Silent Bob Strike Back.
that's right.
um,
Well, I was
Is
also
it
I
thinking
don't want
like
to say because it'll make
no?
people angry, and I don't want to start
Last Jedi, we
conversations.
know. Uh, I was thinking, well, even like I think it's bleeding into the Long Walk this year, which I also thought he was
Yeah, I
super
wasn't a fan
bad
of him in
in.
that.
I
He
really
wasn't.
did not
Yeah,
He
like
was
him,
miscast in that.
and
yeah,
it's just bothering. You know, like I hope roles for everyone. I don't want him to not get roles, but I'm just like, God, he's just
It's stunt casting in that case.
yeah, yeah,
yeah. Which honestly sometimes feels like that's what his roles are right now. Is a lot of stunt casting. Um,
Yeah.
if I'm being perfectly honest, he has a repertoire with Mike Flanagan, so I get why
right.
he kind of showed up here. Um, I really like the math speech, not necessarily because of how he performs it, but just because it adds just another layer of how everything is joined and how everything comes together and how important that is. But I mean, his role in this movie is kind of to be the antithesis of his wife. Um, and so it is kind of hard to side with him too much throughout the movie. Um, Especially because he's the only one that's had like this supernatural vision and effect. Um, but yeah,
I mean, if there was a
in
better actor, like seeing that, because you're right, he a lot of it lays on him because he is the most affected by the supernatural thing. Like there could be a really juicy, like somber point to having what he goes through. We don't know it until the end, but like, and it just it doesn't convey to me. Sorry to cut you off,
yeah,
but it's like I was even thinking like even like a Josh Brolin who's probably too young, but like would be way better to convey like some of that.
yeah, absolutely. Um, but yeah, it is a very small blemish for me on the whole.
Yeah.
Um, I the Nick Offerman of it all is kind of interesting to me because it is maybe the most unnecessary. Like, yeah, you're right. Adaptation wise, like, do we actually need the omniscient narrator for the story to actually play a role in this? Um, I think he brings. I think the commentary that he brings into the narration is valuable. Um, but again, Nick Offerman feels like kind of like you want a strong voice, and so you got the guy who plays like the all American dude in Parks and Rec. That's what you because that's what he does.
Yeah.
Um,
Good pick. Good pick. I did. I did like it. All right. Last movie, my pick. So we're going almost 2 hours. My favorite movie of the year. I picked is Sinners. Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan. Um, I think the reason I love this movie so much is it's what I want from Hollywood, an original idea from an auteur getting as much money as they need to make something they're passionate about that's thematically rich. You get the Sinners, whether some of it didn't work for you or there's a crazy dance and song scene in the middle is out there. He at least took a swing. Um, and I think I'd rather have that than, another Jurassic World movie any day of the week, even if it didn't make a lot of money. Um, but yeah, I mean, we talked about it. Michael B. Jordan's
It
amazing. I
hit
love,
though, didn't it?
huh?
Thought it was a financial success.
It was, oh yeah, huge. But I'm saying, even if it wasn't, like, I
Oh,
don't,
gotcha.
I don't think if it flopped, I don't think it gets nominated for Oscars. I think being so successful financially does help these types of movies sometimes. But regardless, even if it was a minor success, I would have thought this is exactly what I want from movie, like big budget mainstream movies. Um, and yeah, I mean, the ending rips. It's a nice build up to it. It's not all scary. It has an amazing side performance from Jack. Was it Jack O'Connell as the Irish vampire, who's also incredible in the Bone Temple again. The year he's having is not too dissimilar performances. But yeah, and there's been essays written about this movie, but I just love the idea of this vampiric take, not only taking your blood and your life, but taking your culture. And, I cannot speak on it as much as, Ryan Coogler obviously can, but there's a lot going on there with the white vampires and they're dancing. And my favorite scene is when they start dancing outside and
Yeah.
like in that little circle. And yeah, I was levitating in the theater. I mean, it's just so much going on. So it's my favorite movie. I can't wait to watch it again. I just watched it for this podcast and I'll probably watch it this week.
Yeah, that's a good call. And what did 15 nominations for Oscars? Most ever? Like
16.
that's insane. 16. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. It's pretty incredible. I mean, I don't know if I agree with some of the acting performances. I wouldn't have nominated Delroy Lindo, but that's fine.
I was just about to say it.
Yeah.
Was anyone else surprised about Delroy Lindo?
Yeah. That's like a lifetime achievement award.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the guy, but honestly, his role is way too small for me to be calling him the best supporting actor in this movie. But you
Would
know,
have had Jack O'Connell if anyone, but
yeah.
or the kid who sings. I mean, the kid who sings in this is like a revelation. His voice is so good.
So good. That's Miles Catton, I think.
Yeah.
He's kind of a co-lead.
Right.
He is
Yeah.
a co-lead, I think. Yeah. I mean, it really is more his story than even the Smokestack brothers.
Sure.
Just in the way that it all centers around them coming back, but he's our main POV for probably most of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
you
is
start
for
and end
sure.
with him.
Yeah. But yeah, I love this movie. I think it's so good. I hear the criticisms that people say about it, just being another take on From Dusk Till Dawn. I think that's giving From Dusk Till Dawn a lot more credit than is due for that
Agreed.
particular movie.
Agreed.
Yeah. Um, yeah, anyone who's saying that should really go watch that movie again and tell me what exactly, outside of like a very basic framing, what these movies actually have in common. Um, because it ain't much. This movie gets at a lot of really important topics, and it handles them with a lot of care. Um, the middle scene, the scene in the middle of the second act, it's just so beautiful. I've heard some people have a lot of problems with it because it gets maybe a little goofy as far as some of the components. Um, but the entire movie is framed from the very first scene about how there is an interconnectedness between past, present, and future, and that it is through music that can sometimes be reached. And it's just a very good portrayal of that. It goes big and it succeeds, in my opinion.
Ian, you hated it.
What? No, not at all. Not at all.
No.
I mean, I know I've been the contrarian at some points today, but
No,
Oh,
not
good.
this one.
yeah. And I'll just say overall with movies, I like movies that are, no movie's perfect. And I want films that have critics and pushback. I mean, one battle after another has a ton of pushback and it is
Yeah.
messy and there is stuff to criticize. So, I'm always happy to have, unless it's in bad faith, I think, even the best of movies have, criticisms to them, so.
Yeah, no, this is definitely one of my top of the year for sure.
Well, it's no death of a unicorn, but all right. Well, that'll do it for us. Ian, thank you so much for joining us again. I mean, this is like 5 years running, my friend.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Thanks for keep bringing me back. That's awesome.
Always fun.
Why don't you plug your podcast for everyone?
Sure. So yeah, you can find me on Cinema in Seconds, where we look at small little moments in great movies, as our tagline is. Yeah, both of you are just on our last episode, looking at futuristic movies, but not so futuristic movies, and so check that out. And
Yeah,
you can find us
can you
anywhere
be
you find podcasts.
specific about that topic? Because I think a lot of people really liked that topic.
I suppose so. Yeah. So it's movies set in the future, but that future has already happened. Like, for example, Back to the Future Part 2, which is famously set in 2015, which we're well past at this point. So we tried to pick movies that fit that mold, and it was good.
Yeah, that was real fun. All right. Well, for myself and Jingles, we'll see you later. Check us out on the Discord, on the Legendarium Discord, and the music is by Galactic Damages by Jingle Punks, and adios.
Adios.
Night.